It's just crazy. All right, everybody, hang on. Hello, everybody. We're just waiting for Juan to come on. So hopefully this link will work this time. So bear with me, everybody. He said he'll be here in about 5 minutes. So I don't know. We'll see. Hello, everybody. Oh, and then I've got my stuff in the background. So hang on, everybody. So hopefully this link will work. All right, so I don't know if I'm going to have you guys staring at my mug the whole time. If we can't get him on here, I will call him like I did last time. So I may just go back to you'll see my picture up there. But I just want to say hi to everybody. We're waiting for Juan, so hopefully we'll be a success and we'll see his boots on here today. If not, you'll get to see my mug, and then I'll probably bounce out. But hang in there, everybody. We'll get started here shortly. All right, everybody. What I'm going to do right now is if you guys have questions for me, go ahead. And you guys can ask away. I will read these questions here. If not, we'll just sit here and wait. This is the awkward part of it, everybody. I hate it, whether it be on X Spaces, Telegram, just the awkwardness. So 3 p.m., yes, it starts. Pacific Standard Time, 3 p.m. right now, Pacific Standard Time. Hi, Jenny. We can hear you. Hello. Juanito time. Yes. Jenny, thanks for being you. Love, love, love you. Thank you. Love you too. There she is. So beautiful. Aw, thank you guys. Thank you guys for your compliments. I've not done the videos because obviously this is quite, a thing to do and put your face out there, try and tell the truth. So I'm glad to be here. I want to try to do a little bit more of them. I'm asking a few people in the background to help me a little bit, set up, do some different things. So we'll get this podcast going to the next level. So hang in there, everybody. I'm just waiting for Juan, and as soon as he pops in here, we'll let him in. Hopefully, cross your fingers, we'll be able to see his boots today. But he is in actually Barcelona, I do believe. So, but yes, if you guys want to ask me some questions right now, please go for it while we are waiting so we can break up this awkward silence. Otherwise, I'm going off camera. All right, guys, hang in there. Okay, I see some. Do we have some questions? Why does Juan remain anonymous? That's a question for him. You know, he has every right to. Probably because he has a lot of information to share. So, kind of the same reason why I didn't want to go on video for quite a while. So, I apologize. I got my phone over here on, guys, making sure this is going okay. Okay. Hello from Dallas, Georgia, to Jenny and fellow patriots. Hello, 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 everybody. So listen, everybody. So we're gonna do Juan here, and then we have Silk over on my X Space tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which that is Jenny at Jenny_Jareed over on my X page, and then Friday we will have Alpha Warrior on, and he will be over on X as well. So please join us for Alpha. It'll be 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to try to get, I've got Rob Cunningham coming on tentatively right now, scheduled for next Wednesday, trying to get Colonel Towner Watkins on. I've been asked to have her on before, but just with my day gig and everything, everybody, I get a little bit behind and kind of, I'm a one-man show over here. So trying to do my best and get some of these people on. And for those of you that have sent me emails wanting to get on the show, bear with me. I'm finding a lot of emails that have asked that question in my at the revival or the revival of America at yahoo.com. And unfortunately, they got buried with all my everyday emails. So if you guys have submissions or you want to come on the show and tell your story, your journey, because you've been censored, please email me at TROA submissions at yahoo.com. So TROA is the revival of America submissions.com. I'm doing that straight for the submissions for the stories and the journeys of what you individuals want to have been trying to tell. Get a platform to tell your story, your journey. Because remember, everybody, I highly encourage you guys to do it. It's your stories, your journey that are going to help shape this new world that we're coming into. So, also, if you don't know who I am Jenny. I am the owner and the host of the Revival of America. I will not randomly ever reach out to you and ask you if you're ready for the scare event, finances, crypto, anything like that. If you get something like that, please block, report them, because unfortunately there are the imposters out there, the trolls, the agitators, the scammers, and let me know via email, the revival of America at yahoo.com. This way I can make sure they're not in any of my channels or whatever. I can block them, everybody, because the scams and everything are real out there. And just be careful, everybody, who you listen to, who you follow, because it's a thing. There's a lot of naysayers out there, a lot of haters, division, black pillars, doom and gloom, a lot of noise. Stay out of the noise, everybody, because there's so many positives happening. That's like Trump says, you're going to get tired of winning, winning, winning. So, and we are winning. So please hang on to those positives, no matter how big or small they are. Hang on to them, because we are winning this war. And everything that we have been preaching to people, everybody, for so long, it's finally coming to fruition. We are seeing this puzzle come together. The dots are connecting. Everything is happening. So get excited, everybody. Stay out. Don't be doom and gloom. Don't be negative. None of that stuff. Just get positive, because it's great things happening. Let's see. I just did a show with Dallas. That will be up here shortly. It's actually uploading right now from PPN. So that was a good one. John Baxter was on Monday, as well as Phil McConnell. So check those out, everybody. They're right here on my Rumble page. So we are being listened to in over 100 countries. And if you're not following us on either any of my social medias or my the podcast host, please do. This way you'll get the updates of the latest podcasts, as well as the weekly show lineup. I will have that on my newsletter every week, and you can sign up for that. It's free. It's at the revivalofamerica.com. Sign up for the newsletter, and you'll get that weekly, and then the updates on the podcast. But the podcast hosts are iHeartRadio, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, Google, Breaker, Pocket Cast, Podbean, Riverside, Amazon Music. Let's see. Social medias are Jenny Jareed Facebook, at Jenny_Jareed X, at J Jareed Rumble, at Jade Reed True Social, at Jade Reed Instagram, The Revival of America on YouTube, The Revival of America on Telegram, and at the official Jade Reed over there on TikTok. I'm trying to do better on TikTok, but those are just like little short videos that I do. But all of my accounts are verified except for True Social, YouTube, and TikTok because I'm waiting for the verifications. And I'm doing that so you guys know that those are all my legitimate accounts because, again, we have those trolls, scammers, imposters, all of that stuff. So, yeah, so go follow one of those guys, everybody, and hang in there. Like I said, we're being listened to in over 100 countries. So we are making some good, very good, positive noise. So hang on to your, tighten up that circle, everybody. Stick and stay with the 3 to 5 people that have not led you wrong through the course of your journey here, because more than likely they're going to get you through the end of where we need to be in this part of the journey, and then we're going to be stepping into the next phase. So again, tighten up that circle, everybody. So I'll wait here a little bit longer, and then I'll probably just call Juan. So hang in there, buddy. I do apologize. He did say he'd be here in about 5 minutes, and that was probably about 3 minutes ago. So bear with me, everybody. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to try to give him a call, and we'll see what's going on. Okay. All right, guys. So let's see. Oh, wow. Okay. Hold on. I'm going to read some of these here for you guys. If we have any questions. So, Putzman, Jenny, do you think we will see the arrest of? Will we see any arrests of top congressmen soon? I think we will. I mean, we are seeing a lot of arrests, everybody. I think what people are forgetting, we've seen some of the biggest arrests out there, which is Epstein, Weinstein, Ghislaine, P Diddy. So you have to that whole circle right there in itself is going to take down a lot of people. So that's huge. But yes, I do think we're starting to see some of the mayors in these states go in cities getting arrested. So I do think we are going to see that. So hang on, everybody. I know I always say patience. People don't like that patience word, but at the end of the day, we've got to have some patience. This didn't happen overnight. And when they say this swamp is deep, wide, and entangled, it is. So, and we are at war, everybody, and we're watching the effects of war, and a lot of things, uh, happen in the course of that. And then you gotta realign, right? Because you can't give your enemy your next move. We are witnessing the art of war being happening right in front of our noses or our faces, excuse me, right under our noses. So yes, I do believe a lot of things are happening. Just maybe it's not all coming to the forefront yet, but we can't put it all to the forefront right now because people are going to lose their minds. There's still a lot of people out there that still, I don't even say anymore that they have their head in the sand. They have their head so far in shit, excuse my language, that they don't even know what's going on. So those are the people, unfortunately, they're going to have to be brought to their knees to believe it, to see it, and they may not ever believe it once they see it. So hang in there, everybody. Let's see. Thank you for all you do. Much love and prayers. Thank you. Guaranteed Juan is somewhere hiding, eating. Oh, come on. He's in Barcelona, I do believe. Let's see. Hi from Central Minnesota. I love your show. Can you ask Juan to keep his answers brief and not go on and on and on? So, everybody, Juan, I know you guys say that about Juan and Derek, but he gives a story, and I do believe Juan, he's definitely a part of this situation. He just knows so much, and he gives you the biblical part of it. So bear with him, everybody. We're human. We want instant gratification, but the reality of it is this wasn't instant that all of this happened. So he gives you the birth to the grave, and I actually love that because it's a history lesson. So all right, guys, I got to call him. They're live anywhere. Studio will not go. Okay, all right. Let me give him a call. Hang on, I'm gonna go off here real quick, guys. Hang on. All right, everybody. So apparently, it won't allow him to go live where he's at. So hopefully, hopefully he can answer. Don't you just love it? You get to hear the phone ring. At the same time, it's going to go straight to voicemail. So I apologize for that. So, how are you?
I'm good.
Doing good?
Yep.
You want to say hi to the audience? You,
Well, if they're there,
yeah,
here where I'm at, it's dark out, it's warm, it's enjoyable actually. A lot of activity. I'm here in Spain, and like a lot of Latin countries, there is active middle of the night some places as they are middle of the day, sometimes more active. So, anyway.
So real quickly, Juan, I want to make sure everybody here in the chat, if you can let me know, can you hear Juan okay? Just let me thumbs up and say hi, just whatever, yes or no. That you guys can hear him. So, okay, so Juan, I would like to talk to you about a lot of stuff that's going on here in the world, and we're seeing a lot of this stuff with Iran and Israel, right? The kind of look here, we're supposed to look over there because obviously we know the enemy is from within. And I saw a post earlier today that General Flynn had warned that the next 72 to 96 hours could be some of the most dramatic in world history. So, what would you like to tell the audience? Because again, there's a lot of fear mongering out there, doom and gloom, all that kind of stuff.
Well, I don't discount that it could be some of the most epic moments just ahead in world history. You're talking about taking down one way or another a group of monsters that have pirated control of a very large region of the world in many ways. What they don't, what many of the people that are in our patriot community are not dialing into the equation is just how far the reach of Iran is out across the world and the terrorism that's going on in the world with their presence. Iran is heavily involved in the affairs there in the Congo. I lead up to that by going first to Yemen, where we have a war that has killed over 3 million people in less time than it took to kill 2.5 million in Ukraine, almost half the time. They're very efficient at killing each other. Iran's right in there, exporting terrorism. Mohammed bin Salim, out of Saudi Arabia, the crown prince there, he said 7 years ago that what was going on in Iran, the people of the world needed to understand. This is the guy that's the neighbor. He says they are like Nazi Germany, where Hitler kind of snuck up on the whole world in that region. Remember, we had groups here in America that were promoting Hitler and Nazi Germany's ideal in the years up to the war, and thought this was a beautiful, important thing. And yet, it was a horror, it was a nightmare for the whole world that it ran us into. The neighbor, Mohammed bin Salih, warned the whole world of what Iran was up to, what the people in Iran were capable of that were running Iran. And he wasn't wrong. From the time that he warned us about Iran with its involvement in the Congo has participated in and helped to fuel the way to kill 10 million people. 10 million.
Wow.
Somewhere in there, the ability of normal humans to understand that number, to even calculate it, it's just a statistic. That's what Don said. The death of one man is a tragedy. The death of a million, it's a statistic. So remember this too, because I know a lot of the people in this audience are Christians.
Oh.
You know that the population of the Congo is well over 90% Christians, about even half Catholics and Protestants. You go to church on Sunday, there was a saying that Corrie ten Boom, a word of Corrie ten Boom in her book, she was a prisoner in Nazi Germany, went to the camp, and she survived. And she had a ministry to many of the Germans in the communities where these camps were located, including the prison guards, who were put on trial and convicted of war crimes, because God gave her the grace to be able to do that. But Corrie, in talking to communities, one of the things that she said, talking to church members in a particular Lutheran church, there in one of the cities near one of the camps where the trains went right by the church. And she asked one of the parishioners who had been present during all that, couldn't you hear the cries of the people on the train? Because when I came to this camp, when I was brought here, it was on a Sunday morning. You could hear the people over at the church. Couldn't you hear our screams? Didn't you know what was going on in the camp? Couldn't you smell the ashes from the oven?
Ooh.
Why didn't you take some action? What did you do?
Juan, real quickly, real quickly, your sound is low. Can you maybe get closer to your microphone? Or do you have your earpieces in?
I'm right at my microphone.
Okay.
Right on top of it.
That's better.
Nothing I can do.
That's better.
Corrie ten Boom said that the members of that church, this one particular person said, I'll let these cars go by. When the trains rolled past the church with all the prisoners, their church just sang louder.
Wow.
Here in America, we have all these things going on. Are the people just singing louder? You don't hear the cries of 10 million fellow Christians? Oh, they're on the other side of the planet. I was at bowling that day. What happened? I didn't understand. Who's doing what? Christians are being wiped out. Okay, so when that kind of mayhem with Iran and the prospect of a bomb reaches America, you don't have to have a missile to deliver it to America. They make a big deal out of the missiles, but is the missile a threat to America? No. What's the book Some of All Fears? It's about guys being able to get in a nuclear bomb into America where a stadium is, a sporting event's occurring. What's the threat? Some of all fears. We've heard it numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Should they get a bomb in and take out 30, 50, 100,000 people in one fell swoop? Well, by the standards of Iran, are you kidding? That's pocket change. They got 10 million with their shenanigans with M23 and ISIS. They're in the Congo. Crap, they probably wouldn't even waste the time trying to get that many. But when it comes to Israel and Jerusalem, here's the other thing that the rest of this audience needs to think about. Our real fight isn't just with characters like the mullahs in Iran and Ayatollahs and all that operation. Our fight is with globalists who will use Iran as a tool to do their mischief. Okay, so what is that mischief that they hope to obtain? To destroy 13 out of 14 people alive on planet Earth now. They want to wipe them off the Earth. 13 out of every 14. So think within your family, your community, your state. 13 out of 14 people gone forever. And the only ones left, the ones that bend the knee, that say the oath, that agree to cooperate to the machine, or actually just extended relatives of them. They decided maybe you serve some useful purpose. But the other 13 in your family, your neighborhood, they're just useless eaters. They serve no value in the world that they want to build out. It's not just that they've gotten all those people there in Congo. Iran's involved. They helped pick out some of the resistance in Rwanda, where a lot of the mischief is coming from. 1 million dead in Rwanda. 3 million in Yemen. Niger, Libya, Lebanon. Lebanon, Iran shipped across Syria, where they were also involved in helping keep the civil war going. Iran shipped across Syria 300,000. Think of the number I'm telling you. 300,000 missiles.
Wow.
And parked them in Lebanon. Parked tens of thousands with their friends in Gaza. Why was Israel bombing the hell out of a lot of these buildings there in Gaza? Because inside the buildings were missile launch systems. It looked like an apartment, but it was a well-concealed launch system for missiles we fired into Israel from these various apartment buildings. Not just a dozen or 100. Tens of thousands, and because of proximity, close-in range, it's like a point-blank bullet. They're definitely going to hit something and kill somebody. Look, they only had to go a few feet over a wall to kill all the Jews that were there on October 7th that they got. So, 3,000 deaths. With that in mind, what would they have accomplished if they got to go to the next level and start firing their missiles? And by the way, in Beirut, remember that huge explosion in Beirut, like an atomic bomb itself.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Knocked over buildings miles away. That explosion in Beirut was actually the fuel manufacturing system used using the fertilizer that was conveniently parked and abandoned at the shipping location there in the warehouse. They were using that fuel and distilling it down to rocket fuel. See, when Iran sent all those missiles to Lebanon and to Gaza, they didn't have fuel in them. They were too unstable to transport with the fuel. So they just sent the missile bodies in parts and assembled them on site. Then they had to put fuel in them. They were making rocket fuel there in Beirut. How many people were killed in the explosion in Beirut? How many people's livelihood, their ability to feed their family, was destroyed at that time? Unfathomable to people here in the West, because it hasn't hit you yet.
Right.
You think 9/11 is bad. Oklahoma City. These people, if Iran was allowed to go on its course, would they put a bomb here in the Great Satan somewhere? Would they put 10 bombs here? How close was Iran? Iran, by playing a game and constantly, with the aid of Western nations, kick the can down the road, had gotten all the way to where they were weeks, not months or years, weeks, WEEKF, from their first volume of material capable of creating a bomb. And because they had enough material and had been allowed to get enough material right to the brink where only a little more enrichment was necessary, and they had the equipment, the machinery of production, they could have produced, up until just a couple of days ago, 15 atomic bombs within 6 months. So what kind of negotiation would be? You see all the spy thrillers, the horrors, our man James Bond, and the globalista, they're going to blackmail the world. What kind of blackmail would Iran be capable of if, oh, by the way, we have a several megaton bomb planted in the major city? They might even be specific. It's LA. If anybody found out there was a nuclear bomb planted somewhere in LA, and then they just released the information, they might kill more people trying to get out of the area than die from the actual bomb blast. And by the way, as everybody's fleeing, you might have a second bomb right on the road to freaking, Palm Springs or Phoenix. You get boring than that.
You say Phoenix.
That's how they think. They put stuff right there where they put a small bomb, and when all the first responders arrive, there's a big bomb goes off and kills them too. That's part of the whole thing. These are very sneaky, smart people. But the other side of the coin is Iran is also an emerging Christian nation. Iran is the fastest growing Christian population on planet Earth. I've been saying that for numerous years now. It's an amazing thing that's happening in Iran. President Trump just tweeted that 2 days ago. Okay? These are people that have been turning against the mullahs, against the generals, against all those people trying to use Iran as a proxy to do their evil. These merchants of death. The people of Iran were celebrating in the streets when Israel did the first bombing. And by the way, how come Israel was able to accomplish the bombing with such precision? Only 78 people died in the first day. And most all of them were people we wanted to die. Generals, nuclear plant manufacturers and technicians. Not just nuclear plants for power, but nuclear for weaponization. Okay? There's 2 nuclear plants that provide power that that Israel didn't touch in Iran. They didn't just go after anything indiscriminately. They went after the mechanisms of the creation of the tools of war. With that in mind, oh, by the way, with Iran's threat into the Americas, they were shipping Quds Force, their special elite military people, spies, and similar to our Rangers, Green Berets, Special Forces, SEAL Team 6 type people. They were shipping Quds Force people into Venezuela for several years and spreading their terrorism all across South America. A couple of decades ago, not quite 2 decades, about 15 years ago, and I was very directly involved, so I know precisely what the story was. We had some Iranians that came over, passed through the border, the southern border, got into the United States, and were on their way to kill the Saudi ambassador in Washington, D.C. to make a statement. And they got intercepted on the way.
Wow.
They have a lot of their people here in the U.S. right now, and other countries across South America. The embassy in Argentina, the Israeli embassy, was blown up in Argentina by Iranian strike team. We even right now are working on details related to that. With one of the people that's still around that did that operation and needs to still be dealt with. So when you think about all these things, where's Iran's hands? It's all over the planet. And if you add up all the deaths in the various places where Iran has been involved in the last 2 decades, not even going all the way back to 79 when the Ayatollah came into power, just the last 2 decades, the discussion is somewhere around 25 million people are dead in locations where Iran is working to destabilize the nations and the populations in those areas, working to assist, to export their terrorism, exactly as Mohammed bin Salman points out from Saudi Arabia. And conference NDS, they likes to go by, was normalizing relations with Israel when some of the latest stuff happened a few years back. That's why it was coming forward. Look, Iran, not the people of Iran predominantly, but the leadership that has pirated control of the ship of state of Iran and holds control through false elections and intimidation. That group has to be taken out of power. The people of Iran need to be able to live free. Remember when Trump, Iran shot down a drone, not a tiny drone, a drone the size of a 737 aircraft, very large, that was patrolling off the coast of Iran. Iran shot it down. And a bunch of the military people around Trump and the globalism and the other NATO partners and everybody, Trump, you got to do something, you got to bomb Iran. And they got all animated. You just have to do this. And if you remember, Bolton really led the whole parade. And finally Trump relinquishes, okay, yeah. Okay, go ahead and do a plan, get it all ready to go, but don't fire anything until I get final approval. And I want minimum human casualties. We'll send them a message, but I don't want to be killing janitor at the aspirin factory. So I want a plan that does the least damage to, civilians and innocent population, and but sends the message to that. So then put it all together, they'll fire a shot till I approve it. So 2 months later, somebody shows up at the Oval Office, the generals, Bolton, all the attorneys and State Department people, and they're all there in the Oval Office. Trump has to sign the paperwork authorizing the jet to take off and the jet to be let loose and fly. And the jets are sitting on the carrier decks, running, pilots in them, ready to launch on a moment's notice. The captain standing by with the phone right there, ready to go. go, go, go. Trump has the authorization order sitting on his desk. He opens his drawer, pulls out the big pen, is ready to sign it, and then he just asks one question initially. He says, are we going to have minimum human casualties? I mean, how many people do you think we're going to kill in this when I sign this in the launch? And the general says, oh, we estimate about 100, sir. And Trump kind of has his eyes like, seriously? That's the least amount of human deaths that we can do on that? 100? How many are civilians? How many are, people just working at the military facilities that are going to hit it after midnight? Who's killing you? And the general response diagnosis is the lower numbers we can get and still hit targets meaningfully. It could be as high as 200, but we think it'll be around 100. And Trump's just not happy. Then he says, how much was that drone they shot anyway? How much did it cost? Oh, about $30 million, but the reality is, replacement and all is going to be about 35. And actually, we shot 2 down, but we haven't told the public about the other one. We did a little sneak thing and made a pretend thing where it crashed into Shasta Mountain, and for budgetary reasons and classified reasons. So it's actually more like $70 million. Those Iranians, they cost us $70 million, and we need to smack them in the nose, make sure they don't do that again. And Trump says, God, $30 million. Bolton jumps in, President, sir, we must launch immediately. The Russians are going to see that we're preparing to launch, and they're going to war in Iran and change the whole equation. Trump says, no. Let's stand down. I think one Iranian life is worth more than $30 million. And so let's hold off. And he puts his pen back in his drawer, and they're arguing with him, sir, you can't do that. We're already all ready to go, blah, blah, blah. Nope, done. What did he really do? He found all of the people in his administration that were war hawks that wanted him to get involved in his first big war and lock him into a position and damage him. And he allowed it to leak to the Iranian people that he considered one life worth more than $30 million. So he let the Iranian people know we're backing them and we're not being indiscriminate and we understand their problem. After that, the Iranian people were so emboldened that church members had members of their church who went to the police chiefs in many districts in Iran. The police there are really their own form of terrorism, and they disappear people. They question them in gruesome ways. They send the people that never come back to heaven prison, and horrible things happen there to keep the population under control. So church leaders put their life in their hands and went in and told the chiefs of police in several districts over a period of days, we just want to let you know that if one of our sons or daughters disappears, we're going to suspect that you're involved. And one of your sons or daughters is going to disappear or die. And if somebody's grandma gets beaten in the street because her scarf is not tight enough, your grandma's going to get beat. And it's not going to be a light beating. That we're not taking it anymore. We will not allow our people to be terrorized in that way, and we have the right to defend ourselves even from our own government. And you're not true police if you are conducting these evil acts against the population. You do not have that right, and we will stand up against you. That was done by Christians. Wow. The same Christians that aided Mossad agents, Israeli agents, to let them know where the anti-aircraft missile batteries were located across Iran, and where the generals lived, and where the scientists lived. So that in Israel's first strike, they took out with precision the air defense system that was a threat to their jet, so they could own the skies, and took out the scientists and the rest of the military staff who were going to come after them and try to impose their order and begin the dismantling of these monsters in Iran. And that was done by Christians, not by Jews. That was done by the local population who wants to overthrow this leadership that doesn't represent them. There's a lot of our patriot community out there right now who's acting like Israel's the problem. Well, Israel hasn't killed 25 million people across the globe or participated in the killing of those millions or threatened to destroy millions more when they get the bomb, or to terrorize and threaten and hold it over their heads, ship them out to disparate places, and then try to blackmail the free people of the rest of the world with their nuclear weapons. So what was done here was important and needed. And by the way, Trump, by raising the stakes, by moving aircraft, we have F-22s that moved into Jordan today. We have aircraft capable of carrying the bunker busters that were moved into position. That is the Ayatollah and some of the generals, and the Chinese, by the way, were helping them with the bomb. If they think they're safe in their ultra-deep little bunkers that we know all about, Israel can go in there and chip away at it. They'll get down 50 feet, 80 feet, 110 feet, 200 feet with a series of blasts. Or you can send one of ours in there and it's done. Ayatollah gone, factory gone, all the exits buried. You just made your own tomb. You're not getting back to the surface with a monitor, all the exits. You're not getting out of there. Even if you survive the blast, you'll starve to death in your hidey hole. Is Trump wrong to do that? Is Trump backing Netanyahu? Is Trump evil because he's backing evil Netanyahu? Excuse me. Iran is exporting the terrorism. We have problems with some things that are going on with Israel and the Jews. There's issues to be dealt with there. Because in this globalista plot, to kill 13 out of 14 people alive today across planet Earth, it's based on Albert Pike's book, Morals and Dogma, where he calls the 3 world wars, and the last world war is a religious war. Because the person behind that is Satan himself. Albert Pike said he wrote Morals and Dogma in green ink in honor of commemoration of the spirit that gave him all this knowledge. Green ink, and I don't think the spirit was green. Yes, the green man. For he hid amongst the green leaves of the garden. The book itself, right in the middle of the book, halfway through the book, Albert Pike says, let no one be confused. The God whom we serve is Lucifer.
Yikes.
Okay? So he says it right in the book. And by the way, anybody out there that's a Mason, go prove me wrong. Go find Morals and Dogma. Read it through. See what the person who is at the core of your non-religion religion teaches. You serve Lucifer. Oh, you might meet in a church in the basement on Wednesday night. And then on the pulpit, they preach salvation and the blood of Christ, and you're an upright community member, and that's why the streets are straight. And there's a nice marking in the corner of every building. And there's order in the places where you're at. Well, it's the order of Hitler. And the subways run on time. Trains run on time because you're there to provide that order, and you're mutually self-promoting. Secret handshake crowd. But at the end of the day, you serve Lucifer, the devil himself, who wants a world war, third world war, of the religions, Jews, Christians, and Muslims in the Mideast. And your tool to bring that to pass in places like Iran and Israel. We're going to stop all of it. That's what Trump's there to do. He just wants to stop the killing. What happened with Zelensky? Zelensky came over. We had an agreement to stop shooting. There was a ceasefire. And then we can work out how we're going to work this out with Russia and Ukraine. Hey, we both killed over 1 million people each at that time. 1 million on both sides. Actually, closer probably to 1.25 million to 1.5 million in Ukraine. So, what are you going to gain that's worth that many lives in Ukraine in this fight? And by the way, you can say Russia has started it. Russia is responding to the threat that Ukraine continued to pose. It was Ukraine and our own CIA that built 54 biolabs where they were developing DNA targeting bioweapons, kill people according to who their family line is. And they were testing it on their own Ukrainian soldiers who had DNA from family that came out of Russia and moved into Ukraine. They were testing it on their own people, killing young soldiers, destroying young soldiers with DNA targeting bioweapons. Can you imagine? And Russia's bad guys were going into Ukraine to stop it. Their citizens were there in the Donbass. And after the dust finally settles, will whatever's gained, whatever's lost, be worth the 2.5 million lives in that region of the world? Are you kidding me? These people are insane. They want, and that's NATO, us, Eurocentric people that started this whole thing, over who gets to supply oil to Europe for the next 100 years, because there was a pipeline coming out of Russia going across Ukraine. More to come, selling oil into Europe. They didn't want that. They want the oil out of Saudi Arabia, across Syria, up to Turkey. And then those bloodline families that make all the money on that, they stay with rich and wealthy, guaranteed income for the next 100 years. And oh, by the way, you don't want to switch to other technologies that help with the energy. Why? Because we don't want that money that we don't get to control the choke points for. Oil and gas projects. We're going to raise the price with supposed global warming. But we're still going to do it that way. We're just going to raise the prices and tax on the world. We're dealing with monsters. Monsters that don't even bat an eyelash to kill millions.
Yeah.
Or at the top of it, Trump, by raising the bar, saying if you don't surrender, come out of your hiding hole, give up the enrichment site, it will be deep underground. We will authorize the bunker busters. We don't have to wait for Israel to do it. We might let them send a couple in just warm it up. And you don't want to come out of there? We know how to get to you. We got the technology coming your way. The Israelis may have started this thing in Iran. We have all the reason in the world to fix it. And is Trump big enough? Is the problem big enough? Is the argument able to be articulated well enough if we have to do it? I think so. I think the American people will be with it. The Iranian people want it. want it.
Yes.
They want to be treated. You kidding me? And then you got a bunch of people in our community throwing stones at Trump, throwing stones at Netanyahu. Trump hasn't started a war. Let's finish it. Israel's doing the world a favor. Small children in Congo, will be alive because of what Israel just did. Nobody will ever know it. They won't see it. But Iran will not be allowed to export their terrorism across the world. In weeks from now, that whole operation is going to be done. There might be a few hangers on. We'll pick them out, isolate them, take them out, and get rid of them. But they won't have to support a Quran anymore. We will have regime change in Iran, and the people of Iran will be able to run around and live life and enjoy life, and Christians there will be able to enjoy a real life because we allowed and assisted Israel to get in there and put them to the before they raised the stakes for the bomb. You get head out of your ass, cut the crap, don't be freaking acting like you know it all. People saying, we're helping them, we're still more, and everything else. We deal with Israel. There's problems there too. We know that. But for the moment, what's Trump doing also? He's taking huge swaths of the world out of the distraction zone for what's about to happen here in America. We're about to have things happen here in America related to how people get to power with the vote that will be talked about for decades and decades, as long as America exists. This is the most pivotal moment, in my opinion, in American history, all the way back to the Revolutionary War. Because we have the people who actually engineered and stole the election in 2020. Is there anybody in this audience, any reasonable person, other than a handful of crazy people, who actually think that Biden won 2020 still?
Nah.
Seriously, come on, man. You can rant and moan and say all your bullshit. The reality is the world knows Biden didn't win in 2020. All that happened was mobsters, global elites have figured out that rather than trying to build a very intricate, very costly, very hard to maintain counterfeiting machine for cash, it's cheaper to make counterfeit votes than it is to make counterfeit money. And the consequences are less if you get caught. So these smart criminals, they figured out how to steal America with counterfeit votes, not counterfeit money. Mm-hmm. And eventually China figured it out and took the helm on it. And it's China. And China's been doing this out across the whole world. 71 countries plus the United States had their elections flipped and overturned according to the people now in U.S. protective custody who actually did it in 2020 and brought their data with them, brought their metadata, the original stuff that you can't fake. So, and it's been looked at by a lot of really smart people who do this for a living. And not one of the people who have been briefed on this directly and exactly how it happened, even Democrats who were in the right position, legally needing to be informed, not one of them has found anything wrong with what's been presented. They agree this is what happened. Oh my God. They did steal the election. Now we have to prove it. When that comes to a head, as people begin to learn about this and the first arrest happened, and the march towards trials, which is probably a couple years out, realistically, because of everything that's involved people, military tribunals for some of it, a lot of it, critical parts of it, war crimes trials, Nuremberg type trials. As we go through all that, it's going to become harder and harder to live in denial of what just occurred and the consequences of it. Even things like the Brunson case, they'll be shown to have been absolutely right. These people violated their oath. They violated Executive Order 13848 about determining any foreign interference in our elections. There's a lot of stuff going on here. People need to take a breath and start to understand what's going on. And then, most important to this audience, it is far from over. We're in the opening rounds of something that's huge. So it's not going to get sorted out less, dramatic. It's going to get more dramatic, and there's going to be more ranting and screaming on multiple fronts. I will say this. So you saw silver. Silver's gone up $5 in the last couple of weeks. I told people it was coming. Major push. Well, gold went up over $5. Yeah, the gold 33, 40, or 50. Silver's down there at 32, went over 37. And I've mentioned a number of times, I think even on the last show we did here, that if silver broke through 35, it's headed to just shy of 50, probably before the end of the year. What happened to the dollar? What happened to the stock market? What happened to Bitcoin? What happened to other markets? When the strike happened on Russian nuclear aircraft, capable aircraft, a couple of weeks ago with the drone attack into Russia, funny thing happened. Gold actually weakened, silver got stronger. The markets weakened, Bitcoin weakened, came down from its highs at 12, 13, and back down to the 205 range. Why is that? Well, because it's a digital fiat, which is safer. A digital fiat currency or a paper fiat currency. At least paper, you're limited to how much paper you can find, print on that's of the right quality, and how much ink you got. With digital, it's not typical on the computer screen. Oh no, but it's a program and it has to have. You know what? Even with the Bitcoin, there is a bounty on the source code for Bitcoin to break it. Now, stuff minted, the Bitcoin minted after a certain date are a little less vulnerable, but the early stuff is very vulnerable to some of that. And in an era of extremely advanced computers, including intelligence agencies and militarized situations, it's probably pretty close to some technology coming that could break the digital blockchain. It can be done. And when it's done, that will have a very hard day. We're doing things to try and engineer and changes that would make that hard to happen, but not protected yet. So you're not protected on the paper, you're not protected on the digital. There's some problems. Even with threat, if somebody says we're close to breaking it, all of a sudden you found it actually being real. You can have huge gyrations in values there. And by the way, it should also make people a little bit nervous. Bitcoin was created over at DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Program. Anybody think somebody over there might have kept the original code information just in case? You thought probably that it comes from somewhere out of space, comes from within. So again, for the purposes of stability and safety, look, America can get through this when you come through with strength colors. But we've had some serious trauma ahead. I think the simplest thing for most people is metals you have in your possession U.S. minted coin currency. Canada also works. That silver's more material. It can go faster and farther. The two metals, gold and silver. It's a pretty good bet. And all you're trying to do is preserve your wealth, your life energy, boiled down to some metal. Whatever you did for work, your labors to convert it to some kind of a resource that you could use later, preserve it. Like canning your food. It's not always growing season, it's not always harvest season. Okay? And you do it in the form of dollars. Maybe you do it with tractors or gasoline or something else. Silver is relatively stable and it's easily traded in small increments, unlike gold. So it's easier to work with. Silver is a pretty good choice.
So, Juan, real quick.
Wild at one point here. So anyway, go ahead.
No, real quickly, since we're talking about kind of all these events that are happening and going on in the world and what's gonna happen here in the States. I mean, we're here, right? It's imminent almost, this scare event, right? I believe you call it the Cuban Missile Crisis, something like that. What do you see that happening here soon? What does that look like? I know you're talking about people canning their own food and getting their precious metals and all that kind of stuff. Is there the bartering system going to be coming into play? Like, what do you see this looking like?
Well, I think we can't know with precision what's about to happen.
Right.
Things are going to be veiled. So the biblical statement is a wise man sees trouble and gets out of the way.
Yep.
Okay. That's not hard to figure out. So is there trouble ahead? Yeah. What should you do? Get out of the way. If there's a threat that could affect the banking industry, the trading in the market, the internet, the ability to make a living for a little while. What should you do? Well, you should try to store up to get past it. Is it the end of America? Is it the end of the world? No, it is not. That's why Trump is there and the people around him trying to preserve life, preserve what we need to stay alive. Is there going to be some trouble along the way? Yes. And God's hand is going to have to be there. Some of this stuff is very, very desperate. The problems with Iran, Pakistan, Pakistan has an allegiance with Iran. If Iran looks like they're trouble, they have a mutual defense act. Pakistan does have the bomb. Would Pakistan loan something to the Iranians? Could they get involved somehow? Even in the election stuff, Pakistan is there in some of the mischief in the U.S. elections. So are you going to just power on, don't worry about it, nothing's ever going to happen, I'm not worried, you're not worried, I don't care what they say? Okay, well, a wise man sees trouble, gets out of the way. Figure it out. Are you secure? You got your food stored up. You're out in Timbuktu, Montana. Well, it's fine. You can watch it and pontificate over the pride of Western civilization and just rebuild it. Is Trump going to be right? I'm just telling you, Trump is going to be right.
How long do you think it's going to last for?
Trump wants to leave office with this stuff fairly resolved. So what's he done? You understand, it's only been 2 days, less than 120 days since Trump got into office. 120 days. He is 10%, less than 10% into this administration. Right. He hasn't even got all of his personnel in place, all of his appointees in place, because they're trying to slow walk the appointees. That's why he's moving at lightning speed, bringing things to a head. He told the Iranians, and the Israelis, you have 60 days to work it out, come to an agreement of some type. On the 61st day, well, they wouldn't come to an agreement. He warned them. He was very stern. You're not going to be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. We're not going to allow this to just shine on. We will not stand by while you get a nuke. I don't care what Obama did. I don't care what Biden did, or the image of Biden and the people around him. We're not, as a world, going to allow this to happen. And you want to aim it at Israel. Okay. You threatened Israel. It's like somebody has a knife and you're just, crossing the intersection. They tell you they're going to kill you. They have a knife. What do? You stand there until they come over and actually do it? No. At some point, you have to take action. And that's exactly that. And you can't let your grandma have to look under that threat the rest of your life. Your children. Somebody tells you they're going to come kill you with a knife. At some point, you got to take them serious.
Right.
Okay? In this case, it's a nuclear bomb. And by the way, they already demonstrated their willingness to do that. Why? Because, remember, Israel moved 300,000 missiles and set up the missile propellant factory in Beirut to fuel those missiles, all aimed at Israel. It wasn't an idle threat. Israel took it seriously because it was a serious threat. It wasn't just puffing out the chest and making a claim. It was backed with real action. So, at some point, fight time. That's what it is. You got to let them fight it out. That's exactly what just happened. And the fight's not done. And if Israel is unable to accomplish it, we will step in, not for Israel. We're not doing this for Israel alone and for Netanyahu alone. We're doing it for little babies in the Congo. We're doing it for young families across South America. We're doing it so we don't have a sum of all fears in Los Angeles or New York or Florida. Give us a break. Cut the crap. Stop talking shit. You don't know what you're talking about. If you're doing it and you just got shut down on that, lick your wounds. I apologize. I wasn't thinking. I got wrong information from people. Get on the right side of history.
Amen. Amen. I love that, Juan. I know you said you had an hour. How are you doing on time?
Well, I've been up for about 25 hours, and I've got meetings with just a few, and I hope to get a little bit of a nap here over the last few hours, but I was dealing with some drama in one of the states where they're having, look, let me just say this. We have really hard-working people in multiple states that are fighting in their lane with virtually nothing for resources, just piss and vinegar and life energy. And some of them have, better legal resources than others. And so the fight can be very wearying. I don't know how many times I've had people that are at crucial points in the fight, they're just done, something happens, the court decision, a filing is, too complex, somebody gives up, and it's so disheartening. And, others have to come in and take up the baton and keep going. Even in battle, troops get fatigued, and a good commander engineers points where he can pull people back and rest them up, give them a hot meal, get a shower, get an actual couple of days of rest, physically and mentally, and rotate them back into the fight, no matter how good they are, because it's exhausting. we're in a hell of a fight. Look, we just got Trump into office, and we have some level of success, but not total success. You know, but some people, you know, they thought Trump was going to be it. He did all these executive orders. It's moving lightning speed, but it's not done, and it's 4 months in.
Yeah.
No, we're going to be fighting all the way to the end of this administration. I just advised people from another country on something that they had to do that was time critical. And I said, part of it is time critical. You have to complete what you are intending to do early enough in this administration that you have the protection of Trump and assistance of Trump and his people during the remainder of this administration, and including while the next administration gets their sea legs, so that you can build out what you intend to do and be in a more secure position. If you wait to pull the trigger until things become more stable across the rest of the world, after Iran is no longer on the map, after Ukraine is no longer sucking all the arms and genius out of the room across NATO, who wait until Taiwan's the next thing going in the Pacific. You'll miss your moment in history. And Trump had done something that was extremely, extremely helpful for this group. And I'll talk about it, but not today, not until it's further along. And so what you decided to do, you've been working for years in the preparation to do, in a very tight window to start and reach that particular terminus point. And I gave them a specific figure and what I thought, but I think you guys will talk about yourselves. Millions of people are on the line on this. And they went back, had the conversation, decided, yes, they're going to move extremely quickly on this particular matter. And the deciding factor is they would like to have, at a bare ass minimum, 3 full years of Trump in office while they are securing their situation, while there's cover fire going on. Remember the people that came back to rebuild the temple and the wall around Jerusalem from slavery in Persia, servitude in Persia. When they came back, one man would sleep, one man would build the wall, and one man was armed against those that might come to try and stop them. These people have the same attitude. They're going to get in there and make hay all the sunshine. But even individually here in America, people in the audience, we should all be of the mind that we have a very tight window to secure and shore up these wins that we've had while Trump has been coming into office. And, by the way, the very people that stopped Trump and did not give disclosure on the 2020 election stuff, who were fighting Trump from inside Homeland Security, many of them are still there, only the leadership is gone. They're still blocking Trump from information he needs to go forward. Look what happened with Cash Patel, head of the FBI.
Yeah.
Pam Bondi had to ask him after time he got in, months after Bondi got in, please go down to the people holding the Epstein files and tell them we're taking them. Go get them for it. You're the head of the FBI. I have an executive order from Trump to release those files, and I still haven't got them from the FBI. They're not getting them to us. And when you do get down there and get those records, I also want to know what you're going to do disciplinary-wise against the people that were unlawful, holding them and not giving them to us. And so Cash goes down with the Tiger team, kicks in the door, gets a truckload or two of stuff. And then they figure out that isn't even all the Epstein stuff. There's another place where more stuff, way more epic, was hidden. And you get that stuff too. That only occurred a few weeks ago. Trump couldn't release it all. Well, they just got the stuff a few weeks ago. Who blocked it? People in high positions in government, in these agencies, were not obeying the law, obeying the directives from the president, from the head of Justice Department. We have a lot of those people still in place. We're still early in rebuilding and building out this administration. So don't think just because Trump won, signed a few executive orders, that it's over.
Right.
It's far from over.
Take some time.
The worst, the darker days are yet to come, unfortunately. And
I believe that.
I just want people to, take a deep breath. Did Trump do something wrong because it's not over with the media? He's moving it faster than anybody. Part of the strategy is to throw the other team off because we are moving so fast. That's why Trump signed all the executive orders and executive actions. That's why he cut off their money supply first. We're doing great. Trump is doing great.
Are you yawning?
Yeah, oh yeah.
You need to go get some rest.
I will. All right, one last question I've got.
Well, no, I mean, I think you answered my questions. I think what people need to understand, I know we're human, everybody wants instant gratification, but this wasn't created overnight, so it's going to take some time to unwind it all. So, and with the whole Epstein, Pam Bondi and Cash, people need to give them a chance to do their jobs.
Yeah, I think in the midst of all this, one of the things that will help take off the edge, and while we're getting this sorted out, everybody does need to be able to take a break, separate their thoughts once in a while, and take a deep breath. The world is going on. It's not the end of the world. Raisins are dried fruit, but they're not the only dried fruit. I personally prefer. I like dried peaches. I like dried cherries. I like dried apricots, and I like a little bit of nuts. Jennifer doesn't want the gluten stuff. She doesn't want too much sugar. She's worried about what kind of sugar, etc. Take a few minutes. Thank God that somewhere in here, an Iranian, a Persian, in ancient times, invented the most beautiful food, which has gone with travelers for centuries now all over the world, known as the cookie. Our Iranian brothers and sisters invented the cookie, and we're all the beneficiaries of it. Some evil, mean, nasty people got control of Iran, and pirated, doing nasty things to the people there. But God himself, his hand is moving in Iran. And ultimately, tens of thousands, millions of lives will go a different direction. Not just in Iran, but around the world. And they'll be able to get back to the more important fun stuff that the world can enjoy, which is the next great cookie recipe. Oh, God.
I love it.
We're going to get through this. We really, really are. And the people that are doing the hard work, Trump and everybody else, they're not wasting a moment. They're not wasting a second trying to get us to that better world ahead. And
they're doing a great job, for sure. And you are too, Juan.
Everybody remember, please. In fact, let's do it right now. Father God, we turn our hearts thinking of our sister Tina Peters in her condition in a prison in Colorado for doing her job, for her diligence in doing her job. We ask you to be with her, give her the comfort of your presence, and move quickly all those hands that have power and ability to bring her out of this prison condition. Bring her safely back into the broader Patriot community with beautiful stories of what you've done to preserve and protect her in the midst of that situation there in prison. and to keep her spirits up as this damsel in distress, the heroine, that really they're representing all of our interests here in America to not just get back to honest elections and a vote, but also to remove those unlawfully, unjustly occupying high office through fraud and deceit and collusion with our enemies. We thank you, Bettina. We ask you to keep her healthy and to bring them through this safely and intact. After all this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen, Juan. Thank you so much. Go get some rest, my friend, and we'll get you back on here. I appreciate you being here. I know you are a busy young man, so keep up the great work. We love you. God bless you and Jen, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Thank you, Juan. Take care of yourself. I'll send this over to you once I get it uploaded.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Bye, folks.
All right. Thanks, Juan. And everybody here, great show. I hope you guys liked it. If you know how I work with my shows, I'm not one that interrupts my guests. I let them tell. Just let them. It's not about me. It's about their voices, as you know, right? So he answered and he told us the story. Got a lot of great information in there. I apologize if the sound. I don't know. A lot of you said it was good. He sounds tired. I know he's tired, but bear with us all. We're doing the best we can with what we've got, right? I know he's abroad in another country, so just bear with us. And I want to say thank you all for being here, and come visit me tonight over on my X base at Jenny_Jareed for Silk, and then tomorrow, same place for Alpha Warrior, everybody. God bless you all. Have a great day, rest of your day, night, wherever you are. I love you all, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.